In this final video for the section at structure number 4, you're just going to be adding some annotations and making a few adjustments with graphics. So I've already completed this, and I'll just try to give you some explanation about what was done. I moved the levels over to the left side, and I'm trying to align them with text. These two are still showing. There were a couple that I hid. I hid those elements. One of them was the stair pad level, and the other one was level 0. Okay, so other things that I did, I changed the scale of this detail to 3/4 of an inch, so it's the same as the other wall sections. Okay, and let's take a closer look at some of the notes. So we have a roof membrane here at the top, and again, always starting from the outside and working our way in. We have a layer of marine grade plywood, and I'm going to shift this arrowhead so it points to it. So because this structure doesn't have like an enclosure that's conditioned, by conditioned I mean heated and cooled, it's not like a sealed building. The concern is that moisture will start to affect the wood that's exposed. For our decking here, you know, if there are gaps in between them, there's no reason really to make this a sealed assembly, since the whole thing is outside. So to use a marine grade plywood just gives a little bit of extra assurance that the wood can withstand any moisture. All right, so that's one. 2x pressure treated wood tapered to slope. So as we were building the roof assembly here, I mentioned that this part right here underneath our plywood layer is made out of 2x materials. I think 2x8s would have been sufficient to get the height that we need. But basically, they get cut down to form the slope, sloping down to a 1.5 inch 2x4 at the end here. So, and it should be pressure treated because, again, to help to resist any kind of decay that would be associated with moisture. We have the 3x6 decking that had been drawn previously. We have a copper edge flashing. Now, this could be any number of metals. In the other sections, we used aluminum. The flashing and the gutter are copper in this particular detail. You could change that metal if you like, but just make sure that they're the same. Remember that you have to be a little careful when you put certain kinds of metal next to each other because they can cause some corrosion. So it's best to put like metals together in details like this, right? We have a fascia board that we're using to attach some of these metal components. And that's going to be cedar because it is naturally decay resistant. You don't need to pressure treat it or paint it. It could be just left exposed. And for the structure, this is a glue lam structure. We have girders here. We have a beam here that's also a glue lam, and we have the columns that are glue lams. Okay. Moving down, and also one of the last things that we drew was the connector. So just calling that out, girder to beam connector with concealed plate. Remember, this dashed line indicates that there's a plate inside the member, and the hidden line is what we use to illustrate that. Okay, moving down a little bit further, just to call out the painted steel pipe guardrail that wraps around the pavilion. We have a post base, and we have our concrete pier. So let me bring these arrowheads just a little bit closer. So they're pointing to the item, okay? And as we changed that setting before, we should see the hidden line of the pier underneath the or through the earth tone. Okay? That's it for this portion of the assignment.